And welcome everyone to the fourth. I remembered. Is it the fourth? I need to
It
double
is the
check. Is
fourth.
it is the fourth? Yeah, that was
That was
intro.
rough.
Yeah, the fourth episode for the spoiler cast from Marvel's Moon Knight. As always, I'm Mitch. You can follow me on Twitter at 692tweets, and of course, I'm joined by Sean.
Hey, you can join me at Marvel_12 on Instagram.
I say I will apologize right now. I've been getting a kitchen design, so I'm coming down off of all that, and my head's not in the right place. So. Very excited about a new kitchen, but yeah, interesting episode.
Yeah,
I was gonna say it right now. I really wish I had zero clue about Moon Knight. I wish I never read the Lemire run. Because I don't want to call it predictable. Because I don't think it. I think for the wider audience, I've taken myself out of it, who's been sitting there going like they're gonna do that for the last 3 weeks. Everyone else I know didn't know it was coming. Because why would they?
Really?
Yeah. Well, why would they know? Like, no one knows Moon Knight in the grand scheme.
That's true. That's true.
And I'm talking like literally like normal, real world people, not people that sit on Facebook groups and Twitter. No, just everyone else I personally know that didn't see that. So
yeah,
I'm not going to call it predictable, but obviously, just because I got it right doesn't mean that it's predictable. I know some people like to say that.
You're on the level of these shows like a lot. Like, I mean, I sat down and watched it with my wife recently. Like I thought she might. She loved the seasons of Daredevil, so I was like, this is not like any Marvel show out. So
yeah,
I think she was pretty impressed. It wasn't just the acting and stuff like that. It was like the story. Really took her.
Yeah.
And she's not a fan of all this stuff, so it's like I a lot of times I gauge things off of her because she's not in the loop. She's not fans of any of this stuff, but she likes it. Then that it has like a pretty broad appeal. So it's interesting that like a character like this.
There's something I think inherently, it seems to be universally liked when superheroes have like mental illness going on. Like you look at WandaVision. WandaVision was huge when it came out, right? And it's like everyone kind of gravitated around that, and it makes it interesting. Falcon and Winter Soldier had it a little bit with Bucky and Johnny Walker, and now with this, it's even more of a focus with Moon Knight because obviously it's literally half of their stick.
Yeah,
three-quarters of their stick.
Well, that's the bet. Like, so I'm not, like, bias aside. I've always been a Marvel fan, and Marvel comics, the characters usually are pretty flawed. And
yeah, they're people.
They're people, and the shows recently. I mean, especially Moon Knight. I think. I love WandaVision. I have a special place in the heart for that show. But I think Moon Knight has really, as of now, done the mental illness thing. Right.
But it's one of those, because I was talking to someone in our Facebook group about this. It's different forms of mental illness. Obviously, mental illness is just the one thing. You have PTSD, you have depression, you have dissociative identity disorder. Like, I find it hard to go, oh, this did it right, this did it wrong. It's like, well, but it's a different form of mental illness. Like, how can that be the wrong way?
For sure.
Like, WandaVision could have focused more and made that more part of the plot. Obviously, it was a massive part of it, but it didn't really knuckle down in it like Moon Knight's doing with it.
Well, WandaVision was focusing on grief and the stages of grief.
Yeah.
And and I think that we did it really well. Despite what people think about the ending and where it went, I think that at some point you have to, like, with these shows, there's always you cannot just focus on one thing. They do have, like, the company has plans, and you have to at some point, integrate these plans into the show. They can't just ignore it, and I feel like the ending kind of had the hard job of integrating those plans in for the stuff that's coming later, and
I think a lot of it would have been sold if Monica didn't give her that line at the end. It's like they'll never know how much she sacrificed. Like, yes, fair enough, she did sacrifice a lot. Like, people going, oh, she didn't sacrifice anything. Like, no, she literally gave up her entire life. Like, yes, it was kind of selfish what she'd done, but it wasn't consciously selfish. And just to give up her own, anyone else, I don't care what you say, anyone says, they would not give up a perfect life for themselves.
No, I mean,
no one would make that choice.
Like, who would want to give up kids and your husband and like the reality? Like, who would, like, anybody that says they would give it up in a minute is lying. It's just like anything else. Emotion, human emotion always overrides logic. Logical.
Exactly.
And stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
And like anybody that says that they would do something different is completely lying, because you don't know what you would do in that situation.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like, back to Moon Knight, I think Moon Knight is for what it is. It's a pretty good representation of what a person might go through with that. Because I don't know anybody with DID, but like, I know for a fact that the people who wrote the show were reading and studying about the disorder to kind of try to integrate it into the show in a cinematic way, and I think they did they're doing a fantastic job of that, and also Oscar Isaac is like 50% of what makes it work,
Only 50.
I'm giving credit to the writers. The writers have to write the
I suppose, that's a total fair point. Yeah.
I don't want to I love Oscar Isaac, but he's not the complete.
Yeah, that's one of those things where it's you forget that it's not just.
Yeah.
Like, there's the team's bigger than just like director and actor. There's actually.
Yeah.
It's like, who's going to be the other 50%? It's like, of course, it's going to be the writers. Like,
I mean, the writers are the unsung heroes sometimes, and they don't get mentioned enough.
Yeah.
Like they are the ones that put the words in the actor's mouth and like give them, if they go off script, it's giving them ideas of what the character would say.
Yeah. No, totally.
So,
totally.
But I love the visual. I think I seen one time. I think recently I seen a video of someone saying that this is. This whole sequence or this episode is like in his mind. I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean,
because I think they've done.
They've laid out the work for what this place is.
Yeah, and it's very. You can tell right off the bat it's not in his head. They haven't gone that route, and I think the ending. This isn't me being like, oh, I know Egyptian like lore and mythology, because I really don't. But just knowing who shows up at the end, it's a case of like, okay, I get where they're going. This is you also, all you got to do is just look at the context of what happens, right? He gets shot twice, which how I haven't seen a TikTok yet of like he gets shot twice because it's Mark and Steven. And if he got shot a third time, it would have killed Jake, and then he would be dead. But because Jake didn't get shot, he's still going. Which, in fairness, I can see it happening, and I'm taking the piss out of it. But I was still like,
good theory.
I'd be happy if that's the case.
Yeah.
But I don't think. You can tell this is like a purgatory afterlife situation.
Yeah.
It's not oh my god, it's all in his head. No, it's. I think there might be a little bit of trying to trick him into thinking a lot of this is all to get him off the table, like solve a problem, take him out.
Great theory, but it's 100% not. It's not. I can guarantee it's not that. They laid out the groundwork in the episode before this about where this place is, and it's I believe so. In the when Khonshu took over Mark's and they were doing at the tribunal, he mentioned something. I mean,
what did he mention?
He mentioned a place in
God,
speech. I would say go back, listen to that whole sequence, and there's a part of it. He mentions a place, and it's a place that's in the comic, and it's basically what you just said. It's sort of like the
it's like
other
a
dimension.
purgatory.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the Overvoid.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes so. That's why the goddamn Tarawet's there. Oh.
Like that's where the theory of it's in his head fully kind of peters out, because like
I mean, also the fact that Stephen and Jake are trapped in sarcophagus is like, the fact that you can see Mark and Stephen in the exact same place, it's obviously not in his head.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great theory, but it's not. It's this place, and
like, they want you. Obviously, they want you to think that at the start.
Yeah,
with the whole,
of course.
Oh, you're Dr. Stephen Grant. You can do anything.
Yeah,
the random movie guy.
I can see where people would get kind of like, and that's the whole point of the episode, anyways.
That's the impression I got. It's like it wants you to think that, but it's going to twist it around to it's not, because at least what I think I've been saying is, if it's all in his head and you're questioning everything, you run into the like, well, we can't develop, but he can't be with other people and we can't develop them because then it's not all real. And what's the point in doing that?
Yeah, and like if you look at like all the people in. Like, I mean, there's almost there's like Easter eggs in this whole scene. There's a lot of Easter eggs where the cupcakes, there's a person drawing Khonshu.
Yeah, drawing Khonshu. The guy called him Bingo's a statue guy he's been talking to in the street. Obviously, there's the
he's a real person, not a statue.
That's what statue person.
Yeah. Then he's holding the action figure of Moon Knight, which shout out
Marvel Legends. Like,
it's actually the older Walgreens version, not the new one, but like they're kind of pretty. But yeah, there's this episode was really cool to rewatch, to see like all the little hidden Easter eggs, and like the people around him.
All the people, as you say, the Khonshu drawing, he's holding the Moon Knight figure. I know there's other stuff as well. Obviously, the painting in Harrow's office is the town from the first episode.
And then there's like a little quote, I think, that was quoted from another, from like a famous, like Harrow quoted something from a famous psychiatrist or something.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I picked up on something you said, but I can't remember what it was anymore.
It's like we're not living in a material world; we're living in a psychic world.
Yes,
this
reality is based on context.
This pen looks to me as a writing utensil, but to my dog, it's a chew toy. And
so both are true.
Yeah, it's how you look at it and how you perceive it. And then you got the video. I love that part of the show, because it like the people that I talked to, like some of my friends that watched it, he's like, for some reason when that movie popped on, they go, did something go out? Like I literally got people texting me, like,
my mother was literally the second that started, she went, "It's supposed to be like that."
Yeah,
it's like, I'm not saying anything, just watch the show.
But
okay, I get it now.
It was a cute little gag, And, But yeah.
Also, the name of it is that delightfully unoriginal, cheesy parody name. Yeah. Tomb Busters. Okay.
Tomb Busters.
Okay. Tomb Raider's taken.
But this episode was fun to watch. Like just on a level of just like pause and look, to see what's going on,
because it's also, Armin pointed this out to me in the commentary, the architecture of Harrow's office is the same as the building they're in that little London community, right before Mr. Knight shows up.
Oh yeah.
It's got the bricks and the columns, which is very out of place in London like that. It's very like Egypt coming through in a different place. It literally looks like just a sterile white version of that. I see.
Yeah. So everybody saw the third sarcophagus. I can never say that word.
Sarcophagus.
Yes. I mean, pretty
kind
sure
of hard to miss. No.
To get on the Jake Lockley train, I put up a little Twitter, like a Facebook poll on a Facebook group. A lot of people about who Jake Lockley might be, like how they're gonna use Jake Lockley. No one really, because I put up like a couple poll things, and one of them was one of the suggestions was Raul and Lockley are the same character. They just kind of amalgam. Like, so the Bushman character is kind of smushed together with Lockley. That would be the third person. No one picked that one, which is interesting.
You know what? I've been.
I'm not saying that's the way it's going.
I've been since this episode. I just been thinking. I went back to watch the first episode again, and it was Jake that set up the date, right?
Yeah.
The date. Yeah. Good. I was because I didn't even watching it. You're like, oh, it's Mark. Then the more it goes on, it's like, well, why would Mark have a date when he's got Layla? Like, yes, they're getting divorced, but it's not like he's seeing anyone else. So why would that be a thing? It's like, well, obviously we know Jake's been teased at least twice now. Yeah. Like, he had the stabbing, and they're like, oh, I didn't do it. And then there was the sarcophagus, and it's like, well, that's three. It's like that the date had to have been Jake.
James.
It's like Jake's been here. What else has Jake done in this show? That you can just attribute to Mark.
Then you got the murder of her father, and like
because it's funny. Cause at least my theory is I'm not entirely married to it. I don't particularly think it's the best idea. I think it's more predictable than anything. But it's his partner didn't turn on him. His partner didn't get greedy. Jake Lockley killed her dad, and the partner shot Jake Lockley, and Mark comes back at that point.
Would that be interesting to have that third personality be your enemy? Like that would be interesting.
It would be, but then it's.
I mean, like,
it fits with what I've been saying. I want where like Jake Lockley's the homicidal, like Homelander sort of version of Moon Knight, where he's going to tear someone's face off. Like, it's kind of what I want, but there's some bits where I want it in some parts, and some parts I don't. In the situation, like if it happens, cool, fine. It will make it interesting. I just need to see how it's handled. That situation.
I think it would be interesting to have that dynamic, because it's like you got two people that are heroes, and then the third personality is kind of like the person that you're against or you're fighting against. I don't know.
I think what puts me off it slightly is how can you have Layla be part of that life?
Yeah.
It's because I like Layla, and I want Layla to be something.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Because her dad's the Scarlet Scarab, right?
Yeah, I was gonna get to that. Like, there was the hints and the Easter eggs.
I spent a good 10 minutes googling. I was like, hold on a minute, I know that name. I might have heard that name once. Like, there's something here.
He's such an obscure character too. Like,
yeah. So, but then you see the picture, the old school picture of the Scarlet Scarab, and I was like, is that the mummy or the thing like taking the guy's organs out? Because it looks very similar. Obviously, it's an Egyptian sort of look, but it's like
dark.
We're gonna get to that in a minute. But because god damn, it's because obviously the show's telling you Layla's gonna be something. Oh, she's gonna be my next avatar when I'm done with you, Mark. Like.
Yeah,
it's setting up for her to be someone and not just the love interest, and it's showing her to be competent in everything. It's like, you know what, I'm fine. Like, I mean, you're sitting there going, well, what could she be? Like, a Scarlet Scarab is interesting. It's another Scarlet name out of everything.
But But yeah, I thought that I think I posted that picture up a couple days ago, and someone like, who is this? Because I cut the name out completely. And,
Yeah, I was gonna say, John, you posted it in the Discord, and John's like, "That'd be an interesting twist." And it's like, "Oh, yeah, it would be,
yeah,
it would be very."
I mean, like, that's what I love about the shows is like it's not married to the comics, and that you can
No.
you can manipulate the storylines and the characters just a little bit to fit the story.
Yeah, and I know at least one person that absolutely is down on this show, saying it's not a good representation of Moon Knight, it's awful, it's this and that and the other, and you know,
Who's
the
that?
whole. There's a guy in the Facebook group. I can't remember his name, but
Contrarian, probably. He's just being contrarian.
no, I think he's too married to Moon Knight.
You know,
in
like
the comics, because you know,
yeah.
in fairness to him, yes, this is not 100% Moon Knight. There's a lot of Moon Knight stuff, but they have changed what Moon Knight does. It's more of the Indiana Jones, supernatural. Whereas,
I think,
yes, you're supernatural in the comics, but it's a more street level. I'm Batman. Not that he really is Batman, but like that's kind of vain. Right.
Well, I think people need to just take it down a notch when it comes to stop being very like married to certain qualities.
Loosen the grip on the baby bird before you choke it.
Like, I mean, you can't. Why would you want a one-for-one translation from the comic? You know, because like, who knows? Maybe you will eventually get that version of the character, but it's like, you know, why not try something new? And like, it's not like 100% like, it's not changing the character like right down to the, you know, there's a lot of this stuff is in the DNA and is baked into the character. It's just being amplified.
It's brought it more forward to make it the focus that it never was before. Like I can understand where they're coming from in the group, but I fundamentally disagree. This to me is a more interesting Moon Knight than what Moon Knight's been.
Up to this point, you have to get used to the fact that the MCU does not do that. They haven't done
exactly.
They haven't done that. You know, like you just try to step away from it just a little bit. Like I've done it with some characters too. Like, you know, but like
I should do it with Iron Man, the Guardians. No.
Yeah, I mean, like
I did it kicking and screaming, but I did it.
Like when you get like people like James Gunn, you don't want them just to translate it from one for one. You want their input too, you know, and it also has to fit, like whether you like it or not. A lot of this stuff has to fit a puzzle. They're building a puzzle, you know, and like the character that's in the comics might not fit that puzzle, you know, so they have to take attributes that, like, it's not like they did anything 100% new with the character. They just took qualities from the character in different runs and kind of amplified it for the show, and that's it. You know, it's not like Moon Knight is dancing around like a clown. You know, he's.
You say that he did a pretty decent little clown dance when Steven first got the.
But the DNA of the character is still there. Yeah. It's just a little bit different, you know. And like I think what they have planned for the character, I think people will be very like, they'll get why they're doing it, and like it will be more clear somewhere down the line.
Well, it's clearly Midnight Suns territory, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not like a huge mystery, you know. Like they you know. Like once you start interjecting the supernatural
being part, more supernatural, like he is in this, makes him fit better on that team.
And like, but like, it's not 100% not guaranteed that you won't see a version of the comic book character somewhere down the line. You know,
Jake Lockley could be that version.
Yeah, or like every time you see the characters, they're always changed slightly from the last time you've seen them. So who's to say that the next time you see them, the character will have some aesthetic change, or, you know, like, and like, I don't want to see, I feel like it's more interesting to see Moon Knight fight Supernatural than, because you got Spider-Man, you got Daredevil, you got Punisher, you
don't need 1,000 people in New York like the comics have, because New York should be the safest damn place on earth.
There's 100,000 crazy people in New York. We don't need like another costume. Like, there's enough street level crime fighters in the MCU let's try something new. You know, let's see what.
It also, you have the Star Wars problem where everything's so small.
Yeah.
Everything revolves around these 3 different planets, this one group, and it's like, no, expand the stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
there's a whole planet out here. Give Europe some love.
And that's why they set the show in the places they play in, and they did, because it's like not everything can take place in New York, man. Like, just ridiculous. Like, it's like like the New York in the comics is like one of the craziest places in the world. You know, like
it's the safest and dangerous all at the same time.
Yeah, you know, like, but like it's. I think it's more interesting, especially what they have in store for the characters, that they're not set in the same place. You know, like, who's to say that they don't go to New York? You know, there's plenty of time.
Exactly.
For that character to explore the world, but like, this is where the character is now. You know, so you know. And this is what everything is taking place in this area, you know. So it's like, you know, either roll with it or you don't. I'm sorry. No.
Right. I have a complaint in the plot hole.
Okay.
Right.
Complaint.
The first half was way too dark. Way too dark. Like, I have blackout curtains, right? I couldn't see shit.
Well, I mean, it is in a cave, so like
but even with the flare, you couldn't see shit. Like, it was too dark across the just too dark across the board, right?
I'm writing complaints down, and I will forward this to the complaint department. So.
I get it's supposed to be in an old cave. You know, I'm not even going to ask how the Egyptians built that pit, because. God knows how the Egyptians built anything, so that's totally fine and fair cut with me. The plot hole. Now, I'm not taking it as a plot hole completely, because I think they're going to come back round to it.
Yeah.
How does Harrow have this power, and how is he an avatar for Amit, right? With a bit of her power, when she's in the statue. In Alexander the Great's throat, but when Khonshu's in a statue, Mark and Stephen have nothing.
I cannot comment on that.
So I assume it's going to be addressed.
Yeah, it's going to be addressed.
That's right.
Come on. You know,
because it was just like hang on a minute, hang on, what's going on here? How's one got one but not the other? Because they made it very clear. It's like, it's trapped. Like, you ain't getting out from this, like, animal head person.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'll get a resolution to, or an explanation to that eventually in the show.
I only got 2 weeks.
Yeah,
got to happen soon.
Yeah, like, it's all gonna boil. Like, it's starting to. I think, quote unquote pun intended. Endgame is coming. You know, for the show. So
yeah.
You know, a lot of these. I feel like people will be satisfied with, like, you're gonna get some loose ends. You just prepare yourself, you know, like, But like, I think for the most part, they will have some explanations to what's going on. You know, where certain people are, where certain, you know, it like, there will be some explanation at the end of by the end of the show.
Yeah. That's kind of why I was saying, you know, I'm not taking it as a plot hole. Just right now, it sticks out as one, and it's like, okay.
Just to let you know, it's on my notes. You know,
I say the darkness thing, I'll put down to Disney Plus's HDR, because it's god awful. Their HDR is horrendous.
Yeah, working on it.
I blame Chapek. He's cheaping out.
Yeah, he's like. Place blame on him for everything that goes bad.
I do.
And you're not the only one. So.
Oh, Bobby Paycheck over there. But different conversation. But no, it's.
Yeah, I think that, like, you want to go into the last scene of it, or like,
Oh, Tarouette shows up and
the
scene that spawned 1,000 Madagascar references. I've never woken up and looked at Twitter and seen the same GIF for like 7 hours in a row.
And you know what? It was very expected. I remember talking to one of the writers about that, and he's like, "Yeah, this is gonna be it."
I love the idea that this day and age, writers are like, "That's gonna be a meme. That's gonna, you just you can't avoid it. It's like that's gonna get memed. That's gonna get memed. I know exactly the reaction to this bit. That's gonna get memed." Right?
Had to be told, but it
But speaking of old Tarawet, Oscar Isaac sung a song on one of the American late night shows, and it was essentially just saying hippo over and over again, and he screams at the end. Was that intentional?
Yeah,
I assume it was. It's like you sneaky bastard, just spoiled the show or this episode.
Very cheeky, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, very cheeky.
I
totally forgot about it. Someone he sung that song on purpose, and I'm like, motherfucker, dude.
That was funny though, because it's
it was funny.
He did a Ruffalo, but not really, and that's what we call spoiling something over here. He pulled a Ruffalo.
I suppose it's not a Holland. But...
Well, they alternate, so.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
depends on how big of the spoil it is, Like,
see, I mean, to be fair,
the Ruffalo is the big one.
No one's done what Ruffalo's done yet. It's like, oh yeah, everyone dies. It's just like, come on, Ruffalo.
Yeah, I think that was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. But the best part, yeah, I was gonna say the best part is the Cheeto reaction. So that's what made, and then Ruffalo backpedaling a little bit.
I say Ruffalo could have got away with that if Cheadle hadn't reacted. Because you react to it, you bring attention. You kind of confirm.
Dude, I mean, like,
not that I'm blaming Cheadle at all, because it is Ruffalo's fault. But it's like if you just held back a little bit.
Yeah.
But that was such an honest to God. Like, I can't believe you just spoiled it.
No.
Oh, bless him.
There is a reason why they don't give the full script to either one of those, Ruffalo or Holland. So. I think at this point, Ruffalo is just like, yeah, I don't expect it. He rolls with it.
Yeah. He's like, I haven't got rid of me yet. They ain't gonna get rid of me now.
Yeah. I mean, compared to like other things, I think, to be sidetracked, but like to think that you name your movie Infinity War and don't expect something like that, I think it was assumed. I think it was readily assumed that was going to happen.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were. It was one of those where you were expecting it because the book did it, but you're like, there's no way they kill off these billion-dollar franchises. There's no way.
Well, I think what really was the shocker part was who they did it to.
Yeah.
I think, and not everybody died, 50% of the people died, and, I think it didn't hurt the movie. So, No,
it made it better.
It made a little movie, make more money, this little independent movie.
Yeah, back to old Mooney.
Yeah, I think the next episode is going to be really interesting. I keep saying that a lot, don't I? But like,
you've only said it every week for the last month. It's fine.
There's an iconic comic book panel, and I think the next episode of the last episode. I'm not sure, but
it's not the Dracula meme, is it?
No.
He's walking down the stairs. It's like, no, fucking nerd.
No, it's a pretty. I think, I don't know. Maybe I'm off a little bit. It's for Moon Knight. It's iconic.
Which run? Can you say?
If I say it, then I think people will get it.
Say recent or old.
Recent.
Okay. There's been a fair few recent runs, and there's a fair few old runs. So.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna say who it, like the writer.
No.
The minute I say the writer, people will 100% get it.
I got an assumption, just through context of what's going on, but it could be anything from recent runs.
We can talk about that offline. Yeah. I think this show has been consistently good so far, which is been an awesome experience.
I feel like it's been good throughout. I still stand by the third episode dipped a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Well, I mean, I think the third episode is kind of. I hate saying the word filler episode because it's such a weird.
I wouldn't class it as filler personally.
It's got a point. It moves the story a little bit along, but it does kind of meander a little bit.
Yeah.
In ways, but like it doesn't.
This episode picked it up. I don't think it started where the third episode. Well, it might have started where the third episode was, but I feel like as it went along, it got better.
I think the middle episode was where it really picked up when he hit the mental institution set piece. I think that is where it kind of like, oh, I don't know what's going on. I think my wife's reaction to it was like, what? What's going on? It was like, just watch it. And,
yeah. But it's like if you took the scene out of this with Harrow and Layla, I think that it would have been a lot weaker for it. Like it might have been on the same like that scene definitely helped push this episode up back to where 1 and 2.
I think the Harrow dialogue was perfect, especially for.
I mean, even ladies as well. It's like, do you have to be so condescending?
Yeah.
It's like, thank you, someone finally said it. Why are they always condescending? Like, get off of your damn pedestal, you freak.
I love.
Ethan Hawke's so good at it.
Yeah.
He's so good at it.
Man, he's coming out with a movie. I think Derrickson's directing or something like that. But it's
I think so. Yeah.
It's that creepy like one where he's wearing the mask and he's kidnapping kids. But like he does that. Like he's got such a great range of like I'm gonna be like he's come from like I'm gonna be the love interest, and now he's into like the creepy the middle-aged creepy guy.
Just slightly worrying. No, let's not have another.
He needs to go back.
Was it John Hamm? The whole cannibal thing recently. Death in the Nile? John Hamm was it Army? I can't remember who it was actually. Is it called Host? The movie Host, or like not Host, but is it Sebastian Stan? He did a cannibal movie for Hulu recently. So. Oh, did he?
Yeah.
So the last thing I saw him in was Pam and Tommy, and that was fantastic.
He did a movie recently. It's like this dark comedy, and he's like a cannibal. Like it's interesting. I would check it out if you could find it. It's on Hulu. I can't remember the name.
Oh, then it'll be on Stars, I imagine, over here.
Yeah. It's an interesting movie. It's such a weird. It's like. It brings out Sebastian Stan's natural person like charm, but then there's like this creepiness about him too. Anyways, Ethan Hawke, he's such a great actor, man, and I'm like I'm so happy that he actually did this, like because I don't think it could be done by I can't think of anybody else that could have done what he's doing right now. I mean, off the top of my head, like that.
No, I can't think on the top of my head either, but I'm just enjoying the fact that he's in the show. Like the villain's actually part of the show. The villain's not the reveal and the twist at the end. It's like, oh, okay, this is actually nice.
Yeah, right from the beginning, he's there, man.
Yeah.
Like I think that's what another good thing about the show is like they didn't hide really. They're hiding things, but they're not hiding things. Like they're like, oh,
they're hiding plot twists, not plot elements.
Yeah. Which is like what a show should be doing anyways.
Yeah.
But like, they just said, all right, you want to see the suit now? Okay, here it is. You want to know who the villain is? Okay, here it is.
You say that the suit was at the end of the first episode for a blink and you miss it shot. Like they held back. I mean, it's only for an hour. It wasn't for the whole show.
But I mean, it had to set it up. Like you can't but like it did what other shows haven't done so far. Is like. Oh, I mean, the Captain America one held to the very end of the season. The WandaVision was at the end of the season. Am I blinking? There's another one. Hawkeye. But like Hawkeye, at the very least, like they said, all right, well, here's the like it felt like a distraction, to the plot, not being, like you gotta hide the plot. I think that's the most important part. Don't if you're gonna hiding the suit is kind of I like a lot of people just want to see the suit right away, which is fine.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they did with this is like they did. I don't want to say correctly, but it's like here's everything you want to see. So now you can watch a show without wondering what the suit looks like or who the villain is. Like a lot of people kind of like spend their time thinking about, wonder what Sam's gonna look like in the Cap suit. Like just that's the whole conversation. Throughout the seasons, like what's he gonna look like? And now you can just focus on the plot of the show versus like what that person's gonna look like. Like. And of course, there's always surprises at the, there has to be a surprise at the end, like.
I mean, I'm fully embraced and not embraced. I'm fully, I think just fully brave. I'm bracing myself for there to be a suit reveal, like how the other shows have done it, but for Jake.
Well, I mean, of course, but like what
man's got to have a third suit. Like you can't miss up on that toy. It's right there.
But I mean, like what sets Moon Knight apart is like there's 3 personalities, so like you can get 2 of the suits out of the way. Here it is, and then just kind of like because nobody's talking about what Jake Lockley is gonna look like. At the end, they're just talking about. Well, I mean, it's not dominating the conversation like the other shows has been. Like I just feel like every time I've had a conversation about when we were watching the shows, it's like, oh, what are they gonna do? How are they gonna look like? That's how every conversation usually started out with when I talked about the show. It's like with Moon Knight, it's like here's 2 out of the 3 looks. So just here's your cake. You're going to get the icing at the end, okay? Or the cherry.
Well, I do find it funny. It was only last week when, Jake was teased for a second time, or at least a second time, that everyone's like, oh my God, Oscar Isaacs has 3 faces in the credits. Oh my God, there's 3s everywhere. It's like, guys, where have you been?
You haven't read the comic yet?
Look at the posters. There was 3 of them on there. Like, where have you been?
Spoiler alert, for the last, decades right now of the character's existence, there has been 3.
In fairness, it was 5, or it was 4
5,
even. 5 in the last decade.
I mean, even Moon Knight was a personality at one point. So
I think he still is. I think Moon Knight and Mr. Knight in the comics right now are 2 separate personalities. Named Jake, Stephen, and Mark are all separate, right?
Yeah,
which I think it's a nice idea that works in comics. I think it'd be too much for the show.
Yeah, I think it'd be a little too much to juggle. I think what they're doing is a pretty good compromise to that. It's like that would just be a lot of people going, what, how, who? Like you don't want those questions throughout the whole show. It's like we're just gonna streamline it a little bit.
Yeah, because in stuff like in comics, you can have one with a beard, you can have one in different clothes and this and that. You can't do that in here. It's all got to be with the actor. They've all got to look the same because it'd be weird otherwise. So having the 5 and it'll be too much. So it's just easier this way.
Plus, I mean, honestly, it makes more sense that like Mark's interpretation of the character is that, and Steven's interpretation of the character is that. That's more streamlined than having 5 different personalities, because like at some point it'll create more confusion than anything. Be like,
especially for who's to say at one point that isn't the case.
Yeah, it's just
he very well
just establishing the character.
But for an introduction, sure, it's fine. No.
Yeah, I think what they're doing with the character to establish it as easily as possible is the right way to do it. That isn't going to confuse people.
100%. I just can't wait to see that. Jake better get that damn costume this season.
I think people will be happy with the Jake Lockley version of the character.
If it's not the black and the more modern look, we're gonna have a problem.
I'll get my notes out and we'll
unless it's it looks really damn good, and fair enough. But if it's the same as Mark's, we're gonna have a problem.
And there's the plot hole. And there's the plot hole for the show.
I'm just thinking of my Hot Toys display because I'm probably gonna get all three, just because it'd be different. No,
have to. I have OCD when it comes to Hot Toys right now, so like, much to my wife's chagrin, like.
Because technically, like, it's a loophole for my one version of each, because technically three would be one version.
It's true. It's three.
I didn't count on Moon Knight to break one of my rules for these Hot Toys, but hey, here we are.
I did see the render for the Mr. Knight one. Oh my god, dude. Yeah, it's literally probably gonna be one of my favorite favorite. I love that initial suit, but I think this one's gonna be my favorite because it's just looks.
Did
so
the
good.
eyes light up on the Moon Knight one?
Yeah.
Even better. But
yeah.
I just think that because we've already got a stark contrast between Mr. Knight and Moon Knight, the way they look. Like, yes, they look like they go together because the texture and all the detail is very similar, and that's totally fine. You can work that on with the a more armored look, but it's just in my head, if Jake's going to be so strikingly different to those two, the suit needs to match that.
Yeah,
and I'm not sitting here thinking that they never thought of that, but it's.
Would you be disappointed if you got the OG costume instead? Like,
see, I count that as what Mark has.
I think that, to me, that's a little like I'm talking about the the OG costume, the one with the wings.
One with the wings.
The original, like his first appearance. Werewolf by Night. It looks like the character, but it looks like he's wearing like a short little cape. Looks like wings. But,
oh, where it's attached to the arms. Oh god,
yeah.
Let's not do that. No, please don't. No. I mean, in fairness, so that's not too dissimilar to what the one I want is, where it's more black in the cape.
Black, yeah. I do like that black unitard with the armor pieces.
Yeah, like the gauntlet, the gauntlets are all like 5 crescent moons. The shin guards are like crescent moons. I honestly think that's one of the best redesigns that Marvel did last decade.
Yeah,
it looks.
I got the Mezco one and the Hasbro Legends one. It's like one of my favorite figures because it's just like it just looks strikingly different from everything that he's wore so far up to that point. It's like it's almost like reverse because it's like the black, like 90% is black, and then you got these little bits in the middle, his separate armor parts.
It really plays into the modern the theme. It's got to be the suit sort of thing. But the original one, no, because he also has that collar. He's got like a little shirt collar for the cape, and it's just
popping his collar. He's a little preppy.
And he's got spiky knuckles. Like I know it's a different time back then. I know it's a different time.
I love this.
Jesus.
It's silly. It's almost like the Luke Cage 70s disco look too. So.
Yeah. Now I wouldn't be opposed to it being more silver than gold. Like bringing the silver element of Moon Knight. I wouldn't like that. Would be that would be a nice contrast to everything.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna bring it back to WandaVision. I love the white Vision more than the original Vision because of that contrast of the gold. It's like slight pale gold.
It's got the white gold in it.
It's and then I like that. But I do my taste is pointing towards more of the black, like we were talking about. Like it's just like it just looks meaner and it looks more it
works as a superhero costume. It also works as a villain costume.
Yeah, because it also would kind of speak to so what they're doing. What they're doing is like the Mark's version.
The suits to the personalities.
This would fit that darker personality.
Yeah, dark and mysterious. It's just because all you'd have is the glowing eyes in the black.
Yeah, black. And then there could be the scene where he's in the shadows and you see the eyes and you just see the armor and then something like that. That could work. And I'm not again, not. I am not. I repeat, not confirming that any of this is happening. I'm just saying this is what I would love to see.
I mean, it makes the most sense, right? If you take it, Mr. Knight's in the damn show, like, you're obviously looking at the more recent runs. Because wasn't that Lemire that had that suit?
Yeah.
Is it Lemire's run?
Do you, so, there, yeah.
What?
Nothing.
You're going to ask something you weren't supposed to, you said.
I was going to say something, but then I got myself. Self-governing. I'm starting to learn, like,
actually, I suppose they could do the Khonshu look, couldn't they?
Yeah.
No, that's more that Mark's got. Yeah, no.
What about that, like, you know, the cover where it actually takes place in the mental institution where he's, like, wrapped his face in, like, white. It almost looks like a homemade version of the Moon Knight costume.
Yeah, but that's
that
kind of
close
cool. That's kind of close to Mark's one now, right? Because it's got the mummy look. No.
That's a pretty cool look. I don't know if you could use that in like a superhero context. I think if someone showed up in that look, it'd be like, yeah, I'm staying away from that guy. The guy looks a little nuts.
Yeah.
You know, he is.
I mean, wearing all white is bad enough as it is, but like, yeah. Weirdo.
But yeah, I mean, if I had to lean, like, and that's the beauty part about Moon Knight. There's very little costume. You know, the costume's been redesigned very little, like, and very subtle. So it's
true, yeah.
You know, like.
No, it's I'm interested to see what Jake's gonna come out looking like. Yeah. And I hope it's gonna be this season and not leave me on a damn cliffhanger for next. Because enough cliffhangers, please. Just give me the suit. I'll do anything. But right, tell me what suit you want to see in the comics.
Yeah.
So that'll be all for this week, and we'll catch you next week for episode 5. Episode 5.
5, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then there's not that much longer to wait until Miss Marvel. So.
Marvel, yeah. And then
it's the same gap as what we had for Falcon and Winter Soldier in WandaVision, isn't it? Like a month?
I believe so. Yeah, I think I mean, it's going ahead, not ahead of schedule, but it's not being pushed back anymore after this.
Good. Let's not do a She-Hulk on that.
Yeah, you know, that will be an interesting show to watch with everybody, especially with I'm sure that's.
Say no more because I will finish this recording. So we'll catch you next week, everyone. So bye bye.